Simply Red. Good song. Money's too tight to mention. Oh, gee, there's a lot of people that are doing it hard, Dominic, with the interest rate rises continuing on, you know?
Yeah, it's so true, but it's a cycle, Darren. And before I give the quick market update, I sent you a little diagram. I don't know if you saw it, but why it's a dumb idea to hold term deposits in the long run. Like, people are buying term deposits now because they're worried about the market. And okay, markets are volatile, but if you see the chart that I sent you,
Yeah.
the middle line is the bank deposit rate plus 4%. So that's buying, being really, really lucky to get 4% above the cash rate.
Yeah.
The bottom line's inflation, and you can see in the last 4 years it's gone up, it's trebled almost.
Yeah.
But look at the investing in a diversified portfolio. Over 8 years, it's totally thrashed
Inflation and
you can do this diagram in periods of 8 years. You can pick any 8 years, and I'd say 95% of the time, it's better not to have, if you've got an 8-year time horizon. If you've got a 2-year time horizon, like you've got to settle on a property or you want to go on a holiday, term deposits are brilliant.
Are they?
Yeah, for short-term things.
Yeah.
But if you've got an 8-year term horizon, why would you do anything other than invest? And there's an article that they did at Cornell University, a document many years ago called Myopic Loss Aversion. Now, myopia is short-sightedness,
Right.
and loss aversion. People look at that squiggly line, which is the market,
Yeah.
and this is a very conservative one. This is one of our really conservative balance funds. And they get scared because they look all the time.
Because it's going up and down all the time.
And they're getting, so they have loss aversion because they're short-sighted. So
Yeah, right.
it's a great paper. It's probably 30 years old now. I've read it when I was first in the business, and it really just comes to, right at the moment, interest rates are terrific, term deposits, 4.5%. I think I'll lock in there for 3, 4, 5 years. Unless you are nuts, you would never do that, because the long-term returns of the market since Adam was a lad has always outperformed them. And this is another example. But you can see about 5 years into the venture, when we had the big fall with the GFC, or then with COVID after that, you can see that it falls a lot, but it still comes...
April of 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
So
it comes straight back.
I know, that was COVID, that one. And if I go further back to the GFC, which this one doesn't show, it's not exactly the same, but the theme is exactly the same.
Yeah.
So, people, if you've got a long-term time horizon...
Don't look at it every day.
Yes.
Or even every month.
No, take an 8 year. If you put that money aside, say, I don't need that, and you will probably double the returns. Probably double.
Double in 8 years.
Well, this one was 8. In this particular period, the long-term return from the cash rate plus 4% averaged 5.21, and it's hard to get 4% above the cash rate. You've got to be really lucky.
Yeah.
So this is a very generous denomination we're using for term deposits. That was 5.2. The CPI, including the last little increase, is now 2.5. The last couple of years has been 6 or 7. And the other one, the long-term diversified portfolio, was 8.2.
Oh.
So why would you do it? Just doesn't make sense. So I picked loss aversion, Cornell University. It cost you about $40 to buy online. It might be free now, I don't know.
Yeah.
The top thing. A quick update, or do you want me to...
Let's have a market update,
Okay.
Dominic.
Well, the ASX futures are down a couple of points, so we'll probably open lower on Monday. We're up quite strongly with financials leading the market on Friday. There was fear about the US debt ceiling limit, and it's going on. This goes on every few years. So they'll do it. The Americans are not going to bankrupt themselves because they're in control of the keys. They just got to go through this political Democrat, Republican, throw mud at each other, and then they'll lift the limit or do something. The A dollar was up 0.39%. So you're going overseas soon, are you?
No.
Oh, yeah, weren't you going?
Oh, Singapore Grand Prix.
Oh, when's that?
September.
Oh, no, well, it's too low at 66.48. We want it to get up to 70 for you.
Yeah, that's right.
But then when you come back, it'll drop down.
Drop down again.
Okay. Bitcoin was at $26,844. That's a great short, I reckon. That's just my opinion. I don't give that advice to people. That's just my own opinion. It's a
volatile.
Well, it's a well-organised Ponzi scheme, in my view.
Yeah, you've said that before.
That's what I believe. The Dow was down 1/3%, so was the Nasdaq down a tad, and the S&P 500 was down 0.1%. The FTSE was up a little bit. The DAX and the CAC and the Italian MIB were up slightly. Gold was up 1%, and Mark, you're in the market, which is good, at $1,976.43 an ounce. Brent crude was up 0.7% to $95.91 US a barrel, which is still not bad. $75 US a barrel, $76 is okay. It's lower than it has been because they're worried about a recession in the US.
Right.
But it's not too bad for us who are buying things at the petrol station. Eventually it'll feed to us with our higher costs of everything else we've got. People are struggling. Petrol is one of the biggest bugbears for people in their hip pocket. It really hurts.
Yeah.
And iron ore, which is great for Australian exports, still at $105 US an ounce, which is down 1.39%. But that's sort of the engine room, which is what the federal government has taxed the exports, so they can pay for a lot of the things that they're doing.
Yeah. Speaking of petrol, you know what I do? I'm a bit mad when it comes to that. Every time I fill up my car and my motor scooter and my motorbike, I write it down and write how much.
Oh, do you? Tell me.
And the date and where I bought the petrol and how much it was. I've done on my motor scooter around town 6,000 kilometres. Do you know how much I've spent on petrol?
On a motor scooter?
On a motor scooter.
Let's say SFA on air. Sweet stuff all.
Yes. About $380.
Is that all? What motor scooter do you have?
It's a Honda 300.
Oh, lovely.
So it's got a bit of grunt about it, but how is that for cheap motoring? $380 in about 6 years, where I've done about 5,000 Ks.
That is brilliant.
Yeah.
And where do you use it, Darren?
We're all around town.
Oh, really?
Ride it wherever you want. If you'd like to talk to Dominic about retirement, maybe, about petrol prices, about what to invest in, the number is 133 693. Maybe like Mark, you think you're buying bars of gold. When he's got a bit of spare cash, he goes down to the ABC, not the one that the television ABC, but the gold bullion ABC, and buys a bar of gold, don't you, Mark?
I'm a regular there now.
Yeah, that's right.
They know me by name.
That's right.
He doesn't even need to give his palm imprint anymore. He just
just swans in. Yeah, that's all. Mark's back. Give us a ring. 133 693.
Come with me.
CCTV.
Dominic Alafaci is here. Steve, good morning.
Oh, yeah, Dominic, I like listening to your show and everything. I'm in a situation at the moment. I'm going to top up my super the final time, and I was talking to a couple of financial advisors in the past, and I've been steered in the direction of putting it all into one super, but one of the financial advisors said, you can keep the one you've got and we'll start another one. I'm just trying to work out what the advantages might be with that, or anything you can tell me about that.
Steve, I'd probably go with the first bit of advice that you got. Have one super fund, because usually super funds have got a flat fee on the first, let's say, 200,000 or first million. So if you've got two funds and you combine it, you might go up a tier, and that reduces your fee either overall or the little bit above the cap, if that makes sense. So generally speaking, unless you're going to keep a super fund in place that's got life insurance in it, which you may not be able to get in the future, then I'd probably have the one fund.
So you'd say no advantage at all?
I can't see any advantage unless the fees are the same. If the fees are the same, then that's that's very unlikely. I've got to say, excuse me, I've got to say that's very unlikely that you'd be better off with two funds unless there's life insurance cover that you're keeping in one.
But isn't the fees a percentage of how much?
Usually it's about 0.8, 0.9 plus another fee underneath, like a monthly fee, and then you've got other costs. If you want advice with that, there's another fee if you want a financial advisor to help you. But just the super fund on its own, it's about 0.8, 0.9 all up in costs.
Thanks, Steve. To Sue, good morning.
Oh, good morning. So, hey, Dominic.
Hi, Sue.
I've got a situation. I'm 65, single.
Yep.
I have 3 houses that I own and one I will never own, but it's there for an advantage. I've got $750 in super and about $200 in shares. So what should I do? Like, that's my position.
Yeah.
Not a bad position to be in.
No, Sue, congratulations on working hard and getting all your ducks lined up. I'd suggest, though, that over the next 5 years or more, I would probably look at, where possible, moving your money, your assets, from the taxable environment, which is where you are now, to the concessionally taxed environment, which is superannuation. So that may involve selling some of the houses subject to capital gains tax and, personal reasons, and moving those funds into super. Now, if you love buying houses, you could buy them in a self-managed super fund. Again, unfortunately, if they're a normal house, you can't transfer them into a self-managed super fund. You have to go and
buy new ones.
Yeah, which is silly. If it's a commercial property, if it's like a milk bar or a doctor's surgery or a factory, you may be able to transfer them in if you really like the property, but they will be subject to capital gains tax. It's not an easy thing to do, and there is some pain to be paid in taxes now, but the future will be fantastic because you're going to have up to about 1.8 million in super when you retire, pay no capital gains tax and no income tax.
Beautiful. Dominic, on that positive note, we'll see you again. collinshouse.com.
Yes, free telefinance consultations are still available. You just go to the website and you can pick a time to speak to me for half an hour for free.
Beautiful.